Hi, ladies. It feels really weird at the moment. I'm talking to my face. As you know, I'm Megan and I'm feeling very self conscious. I am sending you the very first ever Give Voice memo. So it's our video notes for our Cup and Coming class. So this talk is a bit of an experiment of sorts, but I would love to introduce you to Give Voice, and I look forward to growing an incredible curriculum over the coming months with your help, of course. Now, as you know, I come with a lot of resource and I come with a lot of lived experience and everything, and I really want to create something that truly liberates you guys, that liberates your voice, liberates your body, liberates your soul, so the world gets a bit more of you. So I'm really just chiming in now to talk about the theme for this week, which is something you don't know about me. So as you're aware, we run 2 classes a month. So the first class, which is the one coming up, is really an experimental, improvised sort of stream of cultivating and excavating, the word is, sort of what wants to come through, what you've possibly, of course, what you've acquired through your life, but how does that sit with you now? How does what you don't know about me sits with your new, lived your new reality as you are now as a person? And then I suppose you're sort of sharing what really it's saying to you, what it really says to you, that this sort of contemplative look at your life, this revisiting, reviewing an aspect of your life, a story from your life, and then sharing it with us. When you're bringing up those words, when you're sort of choosing to say, I'm just going to live what feels like an impulsed share, it will reveal more and more to you about the sort of the beauty or the grief or the hurt, or so it's going to just sort of reveal itself in the talking, in the sharing. And then of course you're aware, you don't have to make it into a fully formed speech at all, but it will have its own natural ending. It'll have its own it'll come to an ending at some point. It's with this shift of how I run the circles is that the first session is about that. Then and in some ways the first session you don't come very prepared at all. We'll talk about this if you want the theme before you arrive, which I think is okay. I think you could sort of, the talk is about what you don't know about me. You could know that, and that gives you an opportunity for, connecting with that, thinking it over, mulling it over. But there's no need to over prepare at all. It just allow it to sit with you, so that when you come, you're not trying to sort of you're not before coming rehearsing what's being what you need to share. So you're not trying, like sometimes when I'm going to a talk or doing talk at the Loom, I'll just sort of, things will come up in my mind about what I would like to share. I sort of got, because they're lived experiences, I go back into my life and I'm sort of revisiting that, and then I sort of do my best to sort of put it in some sort of flow. I'm not always wonderful, to be honest. I'm not, but a lot of me not over preparing is about giving other women permission to become, just to take the mask off, just to be present to what's coming up and to trust. And it doesn't always work 100%, but sometimes it's just, but there is a beauty. There's always a beauty there. And that's okay. But in saying that, as we grow together and we will, what I would suggest is the first week is that sort of improv, play, sharing, seeing what really needs to be said, get more insights into what you're holding about that time in your life. And then the next week is just, to continue writing about it, continue visiting it, continue allowing more to come through for that story, and more like, oh my God, that's what it's all about. This is, oh my God, this is how this has impacted me. And, it could be impacted me and I want to let it go now, or it's impacted me and, oh my God, it created more power for me, or it's created a better outcome for me because of that particular incident. So these things you may have the first insight that was actually the catalyst. Like, tell you a story that you don't quite know. Many years ago, I was dating, actually a first date. I was on a first date. I'd been to like a Catholic Solo Parents Association night, and I joined this club in my town for Catholic solo parents, because Catholics aren't meant to be solo. But anyway, so I went to this night. I got to know this guy, and he wanted to go on a date with me, and we went to the movies and came back to my house, and we were just talking in the kitchen, and I started telling him, and some of you know this particular story, that when my son Timothy, who's 37 now, was 6 months old, I just remember sitting him in my lap and holding, just looking at, just our babies just look at us adoringly, just absolutely beaming back at me. And I, in that moment, just felt this, this deep desire to vow to Tim that I would become the best Megan I could be for him. So not the best mum, but the best Megan. And when I was telling him this story, I started crying. I was just like sobbing. And what I realized was that that decision, that vow, had dictated nearly every decision I made from that point on was impacted or by that decision. My life was impacted by that decision. The changes I made, even if it was just, say that week I made 3 different changes, of course my life changed, because if I hadn't made those changes, it wouldn't have changed possibly, you know what I mean? So it's like on, while we're excavating this over the next few weeks, the topic, what you don't know about me, and what story you choose, it will permeate in you. It will sort of bubble up sort of insights as well. And so that was what I was sort of the example of telling this fellow, and it was like, oh my God, and in some ways, I don't know if realizing that vow sort of dictated, like, it sort of was such a strong, and I think vows are amazing, like setting an intention, but a vow, I believe, is sort of even deeper than that, is that vow controlled my life in a weird way. It actually, I possibly, in a way, probably made poor choices because of that vow, because I was coming from such a hardwired intention that I didn't discern enough sometimes to see if it was appropriate, maybe, and it's okay, because I had a amazing, evolution of life, and I think I've had an immensely, fruitful, exploratory, spiritual seeker life that I think is amazing. However, sometimes when we get these insights, we realize that maybe we've, even from the good, there can be an awareness to go, oh, that this had power over me that maybe at times didn't need to have, and maybe I didn't need to make some of the decisions. But anyway, I'm here now in England, probably because of that vow. Anyway, so what I'm sort of suggesting is you come on Tuesday and you share the story, but just see what comes up, play with it, sort of see how it sits with you in your life now, that particular story, and just allow it to sort of come to a natural ending. And then what will happen in between the two meetings this time is that you will, I suggest, you don't have to, but I suggest that it'll be bubbling anyway, and take notes, and take the time to sit and write, and then see if it just has a natural, even looking at your awareness of the whole in your heart share, what that might mean for you, is see if it has a natural sort of talk to it, or a story, or a natural delivery. And then we're coming on Tuesday, the fortnight later, and you can then experiment again. You can sit with it more. You can share it, which doesn't, as you know, it doesn't, I'd suggest not even notes still. You know the story. You've got it in your heart, a rhythm or a feel for the story, and you just share again. But at least it's going to be a lot further advanced than this Tuesday, because it's maturing and it's growing, and it will for some time, those stories anyway. But it at least allows you that to start breathing life into it, and then it'll start creating itself for the next journey, for the next meeting. So I feel like I just can't stop this and then redo another video, like, to make it perfect. I think I very much, unless I listen back and go, oh my God, Megan, don't send it, I will send this as is, and I wish you well. And I'm going to do a fair few more videos too about just my intention for Give Voice, the sort of just the learning, which you'll be learning a bit more, what I believe is sort of how I'm going to sort of offer the program over the time, and little exercises or knowledge that you need to know, like self-compassion, which a lot of you know I believe is a high level sort of first need, is to develop a strong self-compassion and permission. And I'll be doing exercises on that as well, and we can do an exercise this Tuesday on self-compassion as well. So thank you for everything, and thank you for going on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. Bye.